What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, I'm bringing a pretty spicy team to the Single Type Cup Great League Edition here for Pokemon Go Battle League. We have Hippowdon with Ice Fang, we have Lurantis, and Serperior. Now, I want to put things out there of why I chose the moveset on Hippowdon, that being Ice Fang and Earthquake instead of Fire Fang and Earth Power, and that's because of the Ice Fang helping out against the Dragonairs or Shadow Dragonairs that we might see. And when it comes to Earthquake versus Earth Power against Registeel, Earthquake has better damage per energy. It does about 70% of Registeel's health, while Earth Power only does about 53%. So that's why I chose that. But something else you guys could do is pair a Fire Fang Earth Power Hippowdon with a Clefable. That way you don't need to worry about that added coverage to Dragonair. Just saying, that's why I went with the moveset that I did. But somehow, this team actually put in work against meta teams today, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Hippowdon on the lead versus Minty Registeel. So, this is the matchup I was talking about earlier. Ice Fang is resisted, but it still does a good amount of damage, so much so that if you, depending on the IVs on Registeel, if you do the Ice Fang damage in the Earthquake, it'll one-shot. So you don't need to worry about the Focus Blast right there. They decide to swap into Umbreon, so I'm going to go ahead and bank my energy and come in with Lurantis. Now, something very cool about Lurantis is the typing and moveset here. So we got a Grass typing, so you're going to be taking a lot of neutral damage from the meta, but you also have access to Fury Cutter, which does very well against the Psychic and Dark type Pokemon, as well as having Leaf Blade and Superpower. Now, this is a very glassy Pokemon, but it can actually put in a lot of work if you manage its health and energy very well. So we're going to go ahead and put up a shield right there. We're going to overload on energy and now look to go for Superpower. If the Umbreon wants to shield, so be it. But this should sneak by since we showed them a Leaf Blade, and it does. Boom! Now, there's that Dragonair that I have been worried about. So in this matchup, we do have a Registeel, Umbreon, and Shadow Dragonair. So let's see what we can do. We get a shield right there with Superpower. That's pretty much a given. It would have done a ton of damage. We come in with the Serperior now into the Dragonair matchup. So a slithery serpent matchup right here. Grass versus Dragon. But we see a swap out into Registeel, so now we come in with the Hippowdon, and this is where the Earthquake really punishes. It does so much damage right there. As you can see, it gets him bound down to like 5% HP, and we farm down. And now we have the Ice Fang damage right there to chip away the health of Dragonair. And now, because of Serperior, and this is why I love Serperior, that Leaf Tornado is so deadly. It can get shields and harshly lower the attack. That's a -2 on the attack set, so we are able to survive and get a Frenzy Plant off as they weren't able to get to 2 body slams in time. Boom, takes it out. That is going to be a good game. Alright, moving to the next battle. We have Hippowdon on the lead versus Shadow Kanto Ninetales, probably one of the deadliest Pokemon you're going to be facing off against, and we have Ice Fang as well. Now, you guys could run with Thunder Fang, Fire Fang, or Ice Fang. Again, like I explained at the beginning, or maybe if you skipped ahead, I went for Ice Fang to help out against Dragonairs, and Earthquake to do more damage to Registeel instead of Earth Power if you guys look at the damage per energy in that matchup. Now we have Weather Ball Rock type right here, which does do super effective damage against the Ninetales. So we're going to be forced to shield. I want to get one more shield from this Ninetales if I can before they decide to bail out. So now we got to come into the Serperior, and when in doubt, bring Serperior out. This thing is such a tank. It can soak a lot of damage, but and that's also due to the fact that not only does it have like good bulky stats, but it also has that Leaf Tornado. And it also has Frenzy Plant. And in a meta where there's not a lot resisting it, I mean, we got the Poison typings, we got the Steel typings, it can still do a lot of great neutral damage. Now, because this Cofagrigus is deciding to throw energy, I'm going to go ahead and let this go and look to come in with Lurantis and load up on energy. Remember, I did say, or did bank a Weather Ball on my Hippowdon for the Ninetales. So now we're going to go ahead and farm down. That was a really healthy farm down. We're going to see the Ninetales come in, so we're going to go ahead and go for the Superpower right away. And then we're going to look to swap into Hippowdon and go for the Weather Ball, but they swap at the exact same time they saw it coming a mile away. So good battler on that side, able to react, anticipating exactly what I can do. They come in with Clefable, but I tell you what, Lurantis cannot be slept on. the energy, the dance of energy. If you guys like Pokemon that like using energy instead of hard, fast moves, you're the energy usage type of player, Lurantis is the Pokemon for you, because as you guys can see, we overloaded on energy. We get to this Leaf Blade. This is going to do enough neutral damage to take out the Clefable, and we have the superpower ready to go here for the Ninetales. You don't love to see it. The Ninetales survives with like 2 HP. We'll give it 3 HP and a dream right there. So unfortunately for me, boom, I go down. But I tell you what, I put myself in a great win condition right there. All right, good game. Next up, we have Muck, and this is why I paired Hippowdon with the grass types, is because Muck is the hardest answer to my grass backline, and Hippowdon resisting those poison jabs and Thunder Punch, as well as Acid Spray, and the Dark Pulse honestly doesn't do that much damage. Now, we have a Registeel swap in, so this is already, like, meta team. I'm telling you guys at the beginning, somehow this team, like, finesses its way into wins against meta teams. We have a Focus Blast that we can easily let through. Lock On isn't very threatening, so I can easily overload on energy here. We're going to go for Superpower. Now, this is something interesting that I have to try to do, is what you guys are going to notice. If I do another Superpower, they can farm me down before I get to 2 charge moves. But if I do a Leaf Blade, maybe we get a shield, maybe we don't, but 2 Leaf Blades, I can survive going back to back here in order to get that switch advantage back or force a shield. We get the switch, which is beautiful. That means that Hippowdon can stay on the Muck. And now we see a Shadow Mewtwo come in, which if you guys haven't seen already, I used Shadow Mewtwo yesterday, and it was an absolute blast. But from experience, I will say Shadow Mewtwo shines when it has shield advantage. And in this case, we are even on shield, so this is going to be tough for the Mewtwo to come back from. Now, remember, we still have our Hippowdon, so I'm going to let this go through. Side Strike isn't enough to one-shot, and I can survive to get to a Leaf Tornado here. And now I need to swap into Hippowdon so I don't get farmed down. We get both shields, which is beautiful. We see the Muck come back in, so I'm going to go ahead and give up a shield here on the potential Dark Pulse, but it was an Acid Spray. That is unfortunate, and now I'm going to go ahead and look to throw the Weather Ball. I didn't want to get... I wasn't really aware of how much energy this Muck did have. I probably could have gotten away with the farm down, but I trusted instead in the shield on Hippowdon Ice Fang damage against Mewtwo. Now, this Mewtwo does have a lot of energy, which, as you guys can see, they did go for the back-to-back. So this is dangerously close. We have our Superior still, so all hope isn't lost. And we are able to farm down with a little bit of... I'm telling you, this team kind of slithers its way through into wins. It was a lot of fun. We got Hippowdon now versus a Shadow Hypno. So this is a pretty interesting matchup. Always got to be fearful of the potential Ice Punch on Hypno, but most have Shadow Ball Thunder Punch. So I'm going to go ahead and let it go, and it's actually going to be a Fire Punch instead. That makes sense. Have that Registeel coverage. And now I'm going to go ahead and go for the Earthquake here. This just does so much damage from Hippowdon that it will one-shot. Boom! Down goes the Hypno. And now we see a Vigoroth come in, so we just swap our Superior out right away, and it's going to be a Clefable in the back. So this is looking to be a good game. This is Charm as well. We got to remember we have our Lurantis with Superpower. We have Hippowdon to clear debuffs that we might get from Superpower or catch charge moves if we need it, catch a Body Slam, which is why I like saving in situations like that. I like saving my lead Pokemon so that I can use it as a sacrificial swap. And now I'm letting the Clefable... I could have thrown the Leaf Tornado. I don't want to give Vigoroth energy, so I let Clefable take me out so that I can come in with Lurantis and load up on energy. So you guys saw I basically sacrificed Superior. I could have thrown the charge move, but in order to win this game, Vigoroth needs as little energy as possible, and I need as much energy as possible, which is why I decided to make that choice. We're going to go ahead and go for the Superpower here. Looking to one-shot the Vigoroth, but we get the final shield. So now we're going to try... I was thinking about catching the charge move, but I think, honestly, we have enough energy here where we could go for Superpower Leaf Blade, even though the Leaf Blade's going to be massively debuffed. I could go double... I don't think double Leaf Blade's going to be enough, so I go Superpower Leaf Blade here. That's definitely going to be enough. We have, and like I said, the energy gain right there, because the Fury Cutter fast move is resisted by fairy types, so we got a lot of extra energy out of that. So that is going to be a good battle, very well played. All right, Hippowdon versus Umbreon now. So Umbreon leads are always tough because you're not necessarily going to win it. and your Hippowdon might be good against the muck, potential muck in the back. So what I like to do is let the first charge move go through, then swap into Superior to try to bait out the muck if it is in fact back there. Now this Umbreon is deciding to stay in, which tells me maybe they don't have the best answer, so maybe Lurantis can also do well. But Superior is also, if it's all neutral matchups in the back, obviously you don't necessarily want to come in to a Superior that's ahead on energy. So we're going to go ahead and go for Frenzy Plant there. It does land, which is awesome because now we can safely go for Leaf Tornado in a very crucial position where they are low enough to threaten health and they have energy. So we get the shield right there, which is perfect. I have now used Superior in a superior way. Exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to get myself shield advantage because now my Lurantis can come in and hard farm down with Fury Cutter because it is super effective damage. So we're going to go ahead and come in with that Lurantis. We are going to load up on some energy. We already got a superpower and then some. Let's see what's going to be in the back. It's going to be Clefable. And this is a Fairy Wind Clefable, which is very advantageous for us when we have 2-to-1 shields. And those Leaf Blades do about 50%. That is absolutely insane when it comes to the damage that Lurantis can output on this meta. It's definitely a unique Pokemon that you guys should try, and it's honestly ranked pretty high. I think it's 13 overall from PV Poke. So it's a very slept-on Pokemon that I haven't seen personally, but can do very, very well. So we're going to go ahead and go for another Leaf Blade to take out the Clefable. Right, we just took out Umbreon, we just took out Clefable. Final Pokemon is going to be a Hypno, and we're going to make quick work of that because of Leaf Blade and Fury Cutter combination. Lurantis, I'm telling you guys, is so good if you guys like Pokemon that do use energy. If you guys are more fast move oriented, you guys have probably already been using Shadow Granbull this whole time and maybe Shadow Hypno. So yeah, that is going to be a good game, very well played. Right, moving to the next one, we got Hippowdon on the lead versus Umbreon once again. So, like the previous match, we don't know what's going to be in the back, but Hippowdon's bulky enough where we can tank a charge move, keep some extra energy here, and swap out into Superior and see what my opponent decides to do. So we're going to let that foul play go through. We're going to swap right away. Let's see what they decide to do. They're once again deciding to stay in. So most players then in the back probably have neutral matchups where it doesn't make sense to come in with something right away. Maybe do a chip and dip. But they somehow swapped. I didn't see the swap. Did you? Maybe. Yeah, I didn't see it. I was very surprised seeing the Hypno come in. But ultimately, this is why Superior can be very tough to handle if you don't have a hard answer, is because the swap-ins, you can do so much neutral damage if you're not as tanky. So we're going to go ahead and let this go through. It is going to be a Fire Punch. But now look at this. I'm already 2-to-1 shields, and I have another Frenzy Plant ready to go. Like, this Superior just took out the Hypno. It is putting work in right now. I got myself switch advantage. Final Pokemon is going to be Shadow Granbull. So we're going to utilize the Hippowdon here to go against it. We're going to swap in the Lurantis to the Umbreon, and this should be a good game. We don't necessarily need to shield right away. Because the early charge moves aren't going to be hitting as hard, especially since I'm going to be looked to using Superpower here to take out Umbreon. So I'm going to go ahead and let those two foul plays go through. Snarl is threatening, but not enough to KO me before I get to 2 superpowers. So now we got to shield 1 foul play there, load up, and then now go for Superpower here. And I don't think that Snarl that went through is going to be enough to KO us. Yeah, we would have survived, I think. But now we can go for Leaf Blade since we loaded up back-to-back against this Granbull. If they shield, we go for Earthquake. If they don't, we farm down. So it's a good game. It's a good game either way, right? They shield that Leaf Blade. Then we get to that Earthquake after like 3 fast moves right there. So that's going to be a good battle. All right, moving to the next one. We got Hippowdon on the lead versus Seaking. Lord of mercy, this thing is a threat. My gosh, when I saw it, I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, Seaking's got Poison Jab and Icy Wind for my whole team. And they have a Muck. So not only do they have 1 Poison Jab user, they have 2. And I have a double grass backline with a Hippowdon lead that does not want to see Icy Winds. And I have Ice Fang. So this is like worst case scenario. The other thing that they could have is a Kanto Ninetales in the back. And then it's like, well, I just got hard checked this whole time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let this go through. It is going to be Dark Pulse. And ultimately, I don't think there's a win con here for us because we can't get enough energy. We take too much damage right here on Hippowdon from Dark Pulse, and I don't want to give up a shield because I need to use a Lurantis as well. They decide to swap back in the Seaking, which I'm like, okay, maybe I can get myself a shield here with Weather Ball, which I do. Now I'm going to swap into Lurantis, but this Seaking already has Icy Winds, and these add up so quickly. So we gotta block both, right? There's one. We gotta throw the Leaf Blade right away to force that final shield from the opponent. And this is what's also cool about saving Hippowdon is we have a debuff clear if we need it. Now, thankfully, we do have 2 shields, so we can shield again. But it's gonna be a race, and I need to just get this Seaking out of there. And there's still the Muck to deal with as well. So I gotta throw the Leaf Blade now just before they get to Icy Wind. I think they're one fast move away right there. We throw the Leaf Blade, get the Seaking out of there. Let's see what decides to come in. It's going to be a Clefable with Fairy Wind. So I have an opportunity. I'm going to swap out, but I can't do it in time. My switch clock just came up. I was going to swap out into my Hippowdon and then double Leaf Blade the Clefable. But that was a close one. Good game either way. I think they would have won if they came in with the Muck right away and just poison jab me. I die as well. But good game. That was double poison jab users is a tough one, especially with the Seaking. All right, we got Clefable here on the lead. So this is actually a pretty nice matchup for us because we can soak a lot of energy here and then look to go into Superior. It's kind of like the Umbreon matchup. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let the Meteor Mash go through. Now, they decide to swap out into Vigoroth, so I'm going to go ahead and go for a Weather Ball here. It is neutral damage just to do some chip, and we get a shield, actually. They were fearful of the Earth Power, as they should be. So we're going to go ahead and come in with Superior now and look to get this Vigoroth out of here. Now, I decided to come in with Superior because I wouldn't necessarily need to shield in order to win this matchup. On Lurantis, Body Slams do a lot more damage. So now, as we can see with Superior, I can let this go through, but I decide to shield. I thought, you know what? I can even up shields here. I can commit to the farm down with Vine Whip, have healthy energy, still a good amount of health as well. So I can go for back-to-back Frenzy Plants here against the Clefable, which is why the Superior is so good in that neutral game matchups. Now, they decide to swap out right away after letting the Frenzy Plant go through. And it is going to be a Shadow Machamp in the back. So we're going to swap out now into Lurantis. And Leaf Blade is going to make quick work here of Shadow Machamp, as well as Clefable, which has no health. So this is going to be a good game. We still have a shield as well, and they decide to surrender. So that is going to be a good battle. This team was so much fun to use, and that was the final one there. So, Hippowdon, Lurantis, and Superior. Like I said at the beginning, if you guys maybe missed it, I'm just going to recap. I chose Ice Fang to help out against Dragonair because I have a double grass backline. I chose Earthquake to do more damage against Registeel because of the damage per energy in that matchup. If you go with Fire Fang Earth Power, look to pair it with a Clefable because of the matchups that they have, and then try something, mix something else in there. Maybe you could also try Superior. It's a really nice safe swap in this meta. So, hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.